Ever wonder why we don't live underground? Simple answer. We can live underground. We already do, in some places. But most of us live on the surface. Why? It comes down to a handful of basic factors. Physics, biology, economics, and culture all play a role. I'll walk you through each factor. I'll keep it short. I'll keep it clear. I'll stay neutral. I'm G. Welcome to the Stuff You Should Think About podcast, where I answer everyday questions about everyday phenomena and objects. I'm not an expert. I'm just a researcher who digs into this stuff and breaks it down in a way you can actually understand because you didn't have time to sift through all the noise. The physics of earth and air. Air is a mixture of gases. At sea level, the pressure is about 101 kPa. kPa stands for kilopascal, which is a unit of pressure. Kilo means 1,000. So kPa equals 1,000 pascals. Pascal, PA, is a standard unit for measuring pressure in the International System of Units. Pressure is the force applied per unit area. For example, atmospheric pressure at sea level is about 101 kPa, which means the air exerts a force of 101,000 pascals on every square meter of surface. In everyday terms, kPa is used to describe things like air pressure, tire pressure, and the pressure inside buildings or underground spaces. Humans evolved to breathe at that pressure. When you go underground, the pressure changes. A few meters down, the air pressure is almost the same, but deeper. The pressure rises. Higher pressure makes breathing harder. Your lungs have to work against more force. If you go far enough, you need special equipment. Underground temperature stays close to the average annual surface temperature. In most places, that's around 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. That can be comfortable, but it can also be too cool for many activities. You would need heating in the winter and cooling in the summer. Surface homes can use the sun for heat. Underground homes cannot. Sunlight drives photosynthesis. It also powers solar panels. Below ground, there's almost no natural light. You would need artificial lighting for daily life. Lighting costs energy. Energy costs money. Surface dwellings can harvest daylight. Underground dwellings cannot. Rock can be strong, but it's not uniform. There are faults, fractures, and water pockets. Excavating a safe cavity takes engineering. You must support the ceiling, prevent collapse, and manage water ingress. Those measures add cost and complexity. We synthesize vitamin D when skin is exposed to UVB radiation. Underground, you get none of that. Low vitamin D leads to bone weakness, immune issues, and mood changes. Surface living gives us a natural resource. Our internal clocks run on a 24-hour light-dark cycle. Daylight tells the brain when to be awake and when to sleep. Without natural light, circadian rhythms can drift. That can cause sleep disorders, fatigue, and hormone imbalances. Artificial lighting can mimic daylight, but it's never perfect. Underground air can accumulate carbon dioxide, radon, and other gases. Ventilation systems are required to keep CO2 below 1,000 ppm. Radon, a radioactive gas, seeps from rock. Long-term exposure raises lung cancer risk. Surface homes get fresh air through natural convection. Digging a space the size of a house is expensive. You need heavy machinery, labor, and time. Surface construction uses foundations that are shallow and cheap compared to full-depth excavation. Water is the biggest enemy underground. Groundwater can rise, seep, and flood a cavity. You need waterproof membranes, drainage systems, and sump pumps. All of those add to the budget and maintenance. Plumbing, electricity, and internet all need pathways. Running pipes and cables through rock is harder than through soil or air. You must create chases, conduit, and service shafts. Fire in a confined underground space is dangerous. Smoke has limited escape routes. You need robust ventilation, fire-rated doors, and safe egress routes. Regulations for underground fire safety are stricter than for surface homes. Above-ground land is visible, marketable, and easy to appraise. Underground space is hidden. Its value is often measured by the cost of creating it, not by the market demand. Because construction costs are higher, rent or sale price for underground units must be higher to be profitable. Most people are not willing to pay a premium for a lack of natural sunlight. Cities invest in roads, utilities, and public transport on the surface. Underground networks require a separate investment. Budget constraints make surface expansion more attractive. Humans have an innate desire to see the sky. It signals weather, seasons, and time. Being cut off from that view can feel oppressive. Surface neighborhoods are visible. People can easily find each other, walk, and interact. Underground communities would be hidden, making social cohesion harder. Underground living is often associated with basements, shelters, or low-income housing. That perception can deter adoption. People feel safer when they can see an exit. In a deep cavern, the exit may be far away and hidden. That can increase anxiety. Excavation disrupts soil layers, groundwater pathways, and habitats. Surface construction also impacts the environment, but underground work often has a larger immediate footprint. Artificial lighting, ventilation, and heating and cooling consume energy. If the electricity comes from fossil fuels, the carbon footprint rises. Surface homes can rely on passive solar heating and natural ventilation, reducing energy use. Rock removal creates large volumes of waste material. Disposing of that waste requires landfills or other sites. Surface construction waste is generally smaller in volume. In places like Cappadocia, Turkey, and Coober Pedy, Australia, people have carved homes into soft stone. These are exceptions, not the rule. They work because the rock is easy to carve and the climate is extreme on the surface. Derinkuyu in Turkey and the ancient Chinese tunnel cities show that large underground settlements are possible. They were built for defense and climate control, not for everyday modern life. Some developers sell luxury bunkers. They are marketed as disaster shelters, not primary residence. The price reflects the high construction cost and niche market. Malls, parking garages, and subway stations thrive underground. They succeed because they serve a specific function and are connected to the surface infrastructure. In deserts, underground stays cool by day and warm by night. In Arctic zones, underground protects from wind chill. Cities with limited surface space could, in theory, expand downward. Vertical stacking of surface and underground layers could increase housing units. Underground shelters protect against storms, nuclear fallout, and some kinds of terrorism. They can be a part of a broader resilience strategy. Data centers, labs, and storage facilities often go underground for temperature stability and security. These are purpose-built, not ordinary homes. In summary, physics, pressure, temperature, and lack of light make life harder underground. Biology, vitamin D, circadian rhythms, and air quality suffer without sunlight and fresh air. Engineering, excavation, waterproofing, utilities, and fire safety add cost and complexity. Economics, construction is expensive, and market demand is low. Social and psychology, humans crave sky, visibility, and simple egress routes. Environment, energy use and waste are higher for underground habitats. Each factor alone could be managed. Together, they create a high barrier for everyday living. That's why most people choose to stay on the surface. That's it for this episode of The Stuff You Should Think About. Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Leave a comment with your thoughts or a topic you'd like to hear about next time. Until then, stay curious. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Statements are based on current understanding and public information.